Now, MP Betty Nambooze could face expulsion from the Democratic Party, and that's if she doesn't show up for a disciplinary hearing slated for the 20th of April. That and more in Newsnight.
To you by Kampala Electric Mart, proudly associated with Chint.
Welcome to Newsnight. Joining me to discuss just this is the Deputy Spokesperson for the Democratic Party, Alex Waiswa. Good evening.
Good evening.
While there was a break, you were saying, why did we pick expulsion and not caution? And what's the other one?
Yes, there is, the Constitution talks about three, suspension, caution, and expulsion. But of course, all are up for grabs for the Honorable. Yeah. But
if you say all up for grabs, I'm going to go straight to what she said. She doesn't really see if it will be fair, if I can say that, because what the committee itself, I mean, how fair will this hearing be? Is she coming into a lion's den?
You see, it is not true when somebody talks about fairness. One, the Constitution of the Democratic Party clearly spells out what it is supposed to be, and that is what is supposed to be followed. Secondly, the National Executive Committee can be constituted as a disciplinary committee. That is what the framers of the Constitution talked about. And if you look at what she has been propagating as her constitutional amendments, that has not been part of the same. So she feels that has already been fair. Then also I want to tell her, to advise her, that nobody is calling her for a personal vendetta. Nobody is calling her for that, otherwise there would be a declaration already, but they are calling her for the doctrine of a fair hearing. And in all matters of justice, you must call somebody, and then judgment is passed according to how somebody reacts to the panel. And also, the quorum, just like Parliament, the National Executive Committee is premised on the principle of quorum, and the quorum is supposed to be 11. So if you have 11 persons elected as members of the National Executive Committee, they can be constituted as a disciplinary committee as well. So I do not think she's allaying fears out of honesty, but she's allaying fears out of stubbornness, out of the prefix of indiscipline itself. And that must stop in the Democratic Party. We said earlier today that the challenges of the party is that we have been appeasing people, persons. You know, somebody does something and then you take them for what they are, the numbers that they are to the party. But then institutions, if you want to create a difference with the ruling oligarchy, with the anarchy that we are talking about in this country, with the autocracy, you must begin with yourselves, no matter how big. The challenges of this country.
Is she allaying the fears though because of the comments of the divisions that are already existing? I mean, she's been called an agent. They said some of her actions could show that she's an agent of the ruling party. So if you start throwing snide remarks like that, isn't it justified for someone to allay fears that the committee might not be fair?
It is not true. It is not true. We all recognize, we are cognizant of the fact of what she has to the Democratic Party. One, she's a member of Parliament. No matter her character, she has always taken the flag up and put it high. We must respect that. But what we are saying is there must be discipline. I want to tell you, Flavia, that the challenges of this country is that it has produced people who are bigger than the institutions they belong to. I want to give you an example. The president himself, President Museveni takes himself to be the NRM. Now, if you are challenging the individualism that is eating up this country, the purpose why we went for the multi-party referendum, opening up political parties, is creating institutions. Because what is the worm that is eating up the political space of this country is simply individuals. And if institutions do not take the stand against these individuals, then there is no fundamental change that this country will look at.
I'm glad you've brought that up, and we'll let President Museveni be dealt with in the NRM accordingly.
It's an example I never take up.
Okay, so Betty Nambooze made remarks a while ago and said that she probably regrets, maybe as DP, in backing Mbabazi, and said that the next time you see us, it will be one of us. It won't be a collective of us supporting somebody else. And it got me to thinking, is this a question of there's so many competent people who are now rising in the DP, and you know, a bit of scares here and there, wars of who's competent to lead and who isn't? Is that perhaps a background of some of the wars?
Of course, I can assure you that this leadership of ours has put the party back to the stands. We have created the platform of organization, of structure organization. I want to tell you that it is a party that is now bestowed by a click of the internet. You can get 1,800 and something delegates by click, available on the grassroots. That is why we are the ones yearning for the LC1 elections, because we are ready. 2, it is one that has come out with accountability system. It has come out with transformation. So it is true that even within the party, there are those who feel
so
that
many
it is
people
time.
who are ready.
Yes, and that can only be organized by platforms.
Okay.
It was not there then. And I want to assure you also, and assure the country as well, that we shall present a candidate in 2021, and it will not be a replica of what you've been having.
So you're saying
We
it's an
are
advantage.
strong.
There are many people coming up,
It
but
is
you
an
will
advantage.
organize it and come out as one voice
It shows you that you
eventually.
can form a government.
Okay.
Because that is what is important. There are many governments that come in and they cannot form a government. So if you have more than one person who can actually be president, then it means you can form a government. And that has been the dilemma of this country.
Alex, 2 things as wind up. One, she has also commented that perhaps her need for the efforts that she's putting up, whether we believe they're not the right efforts or not, she says is because the leaders are making sure DP is inactive. And it's their way, it's a calculated agenda to make sure the DP dies out with inactivity. You'll comment on that, and then lastly, what you believe is the resolve. You've commented, let's not call it expulsion. There are many ways to this, but what do you believe will be, what will we see after that meeting if she does show up? So let's start
with the first one.
Yeah.
Now, number one, I want to tell you that as a party, as an institution, we are all set for the best. And as an institution, we only look forward to seeing what is up to the Ugandans, what do they want. We must come out as the exact alternative as a party to be acceptable, because it is what it takes 2 to tango.
To Ugandans.
1, to have the ideology, and 2, to be what it takes to the Ugandans to be given the mandate to be the elected government. Now, if you do not do that, if you do not look like what the Ugandans want, then definitely they will put you aside. And I think this time round, we are leaving no stone unturned to be more organized. 1, to have the resources, because they are very important. 2, to have the right candidate at the time and have the agenda of the next election. And we believe by 2019, we shall have made pronouncements of who our candidate will be. Number 1, the resources we shall have. Number 2, and number 3, we shall have the right agenda for Ugandans to decide, to be in the competitive politics, because things have changed. The generation has changed. We are no longer talking about we slept, we dreamt, we did. It is what do you have for the country? What do you have for the economy? What do you have for the health? What do you have for the education? It is the agenda that we are coming up. Those times we were voted as having the best manifesto, but it was not properly publicized. This time round, we are telling you, you're gonna be shocked. We are gonna come all out to have the best the country needs. Then on the fate,
the resolve, yes.
The resolve, I think it comes out of personal character. The people of the National Executive Committee take her as a colleague.
Okay.
She is our colleague, and it is wrong also to tell you for somebody to say that the leaders have been sleeping. She is part of the leaders. She was elected in 2015. She's coming up in 2017. Politics is processes. It is foolhardy for someone to think that it is in videos. It must be collective responsibility. That is the doctrine of institutions. It is not in videos. Yes, I want to agree. We have faced challenges as a party. We lost our Secretary General. That is not news. Death is an act of God. 2, we did also have the net fishing out some of our people. I don't want to tell you that we are very comfortable.
I don't think you should blame the inactivity.
No, I do not want to tell you that we are very comfortable with that. But I want to tell you that these are processes that take you to study what are the challenges and problems you have as a party. But I also want to tell you that what will happen to her is basically the character she will come with. If you go to any court, if you're going to plead anything, if it is indiscipline at this institution,
the attitude you come with.
The attitude you come with. If you remain arrogant, if you remain adamant, definitely the punishment remains also adamant as you are. Okay. But I want to tell you that there is no prejudgment to what will befall her. It is all based. It is the ball is in her hands. And as I wind up, what is important to tell the Ugandans? The Democratic Party has had challenges. It is a fact. But I want to tell you that like never before, we are fully in charge of this institution. We are running it like it's supposed to be run. And we are very certain that we are going to do whatever it takes to see that we compete for power, despite the fact that as a school of leaders, we are facing a lot of challenges.
Thank you so much, Alex Waiswa,
You're
Deputy
most welcome.
Spokesperson for the Democratic Party.
Thank you as well.
That's it for news.